Greetings, peace, everybody. I'm back. I'm back again. I'm trying to stay committed to what I said I was going to do, which is to create content, useful content in the time of need. Like I stated on my last video, I've been studying for years and years, putting everything that I've been studying into use. And I think it's finally time that I start sharing some of what I've learned and applied to help people in their daily life. Um, I had to come to the understanding that I won't remember everything, um, and that I won't be able to articulate everything, even though I may come across a piece of information. It doesn't stay in the forefront of my mind because I'm always moving from around, doing different things, thinking about different things in a different, you know, um, categories of being. But I do know that the information never gets deleted. It's always in my brain, so I'm aware. It gives you what I like to call personal power. That's the importance of studying, reading, collecting knowledge and information, is because it gives you personal power. So with that said, today I'm going to be talking about vitamin D because I mentioned that in my last video, and I want to try to. I'm going to be a man of my words. I'm an honest person, but sometimes we human and we procrastinate. When you procrastinate, that's going away from being a person of your word, because yeah, you might not have done it yet, but you delaying it. At some point, it becomes a procrastination. It becomes a point where you going back on your word. So I want to try to stay. I'm going to stay dedicated to this. I realize how much work it takes to make these videos. The first is just devoting your time to it. It's so much stuff to do out here, in here. It's so much to do, and to take your time to devote to just sharing information could be helpful for people but not really receive any benefit from it is a selfless act, and I see how much energy it takes. So I'm just respectful of people who do this on a daily, whatever, consistent basis. So let's get started. Today we're gonna be talking about, hope y'all can see my screen. We're gonna be talking about vitamin D. Um, Vitamin D, of course, we know is important, but being vegans, especially for vegans and vegetarians, we get a lot of slack. But it's not even vegans and vegetarians only, man. The reason why I'm talking about vitamin D is because, one, I'm a vegan, and they say that it's hard to get vitamin D if you don't eat meat. You need to get your vitamin D's from, fish, cod liver oil, stuff like that. And so going out and trying to search and learn about all of the vitamins and minerals that a vegan might be deficient in based on this particular diet. I just started studying about all of them in particular, and kind of figuring out what other sources are there. You can't ever accept something for face value. So when I know there's a population of people who are vegan or were vegan or vegetarian and they're living long and healthy lives without eating meat, and then I know that the vitamin deficiency, you can't live a long healthy life, a good quality of life, but there's people out there doing it, then I obviously know that the research that we privy to is not does not take everything in compass. So that's what I'm here to do today. We're going to first talk about vitamin D. I already got everything set up. We're going to talk about vitamin D. What is vitamin D? I like Wikipedia. I know people say don't use it as a source, but I am. You go and you research Wikipedia. I mean, you do some research on Wikipedia. Wikipedia is just like an amazing resource for information at your fingertips. And most of the time, I mean 90% of the time or more that I've come on to do research on a particular thing and find some information on Wikipedia, is very informal. And if you do go to another source, you will see that the information is correct. And so maybe in these schools and stuff, they tell you don't use Wikipedia because they don't have complete control of Wikipedia. For me, I think it's a great source, so I'm gonna be using some of that today. So we already see what vitamin D is. Vitamin D, and I got these glasses on. These are not prescription glasses. These are some blue blockers because I do work in IT and I'm at computers a lot, so I like to try to protect my eyes from the blue light spectrum, which could be bad for you and interfere with your biological rhythms. So, vitamin D, what is it? Vitamin D is a group of fat-soluble corticosteroids responsible for increasing intestinal absorption of calcium, magnesium, and phosphate, and multiple other biological effects. In humans, the most important compounds in this group are vitamin D3, also known as cholecalciferol, and vitamin D2, ergocalciferol. Say the major natural sources of the vitamin is synthesis of cholecalciferol in the lower layers of skin epidermis through a chemical reaction that is dependent on sun exposure. And say cholecalciferol and ergocalciferol can be ingested from the diet and from supplements. Only a few foods, such as the flesh of fatty fish, naturally contain significant amounts of vitamin D. In the U.S. and other countries, cow's milk and plant-derived milk substances are fortified with vitamin D, as are many breakfast cereals. Mushrooms exposed to ultraviolet light contribute useful amounts of vitamin D. Dietary recommendations typically assume that all of a person's vitamin D is taken by mouth, as sun exposure in the population is variable, and recommendations about the amount of sun exposure that is safe are uncertain in view of the skin cancer risk. So already we tapping into a lot of info. That's why I like Wikipedia. It condenses a lot of information down into about 2-3 paragraphs. So you can get a great overview by just reading the first 3 or 4 paragraphs on Wikipedia. The first introduction section on Wikipedia is going to give you a great overview, and it's a great starting point. So a couple of things that people may get a misconception about, and I got a couple websites up, we're going to go through them, is that we get vitamin D from the sun. But of course, using context clues, we can read in here and see that that's not true, okay? Entirely. We have to break that down. It says the major natural source of the vitamin is synthesis of cholecalciferol in the lower layers of epidermis through a chemical reaction that is dependent on sun exposure. Okay? That is dependent on sun exposure. Not that is, we don't. So basically, let's go over the types of vitamin D. Okay? Vitamin D, there is 2 types. There is vitamin D2, ergocalciferol, and vitamin D3, cholecalciferol. Vitamin D2, that is a man-made form of the vitamin. As you can see in here, they said that in the U.S. and other countries, cow's milk and plant-derived milk substances are fortified with vitamin D. That form of vitamin D that they're using is ergocalciferol, which is vitamin D2. It's man-made in a laboratory using chemicals and chemistry to cause certain reactions. So one thing that's important is the type of vitamin D we take, because people have been preaching forever that man-made chemicals is not assimilable by the body, meaning the body can't use it efficiently. And this is so true because, listen, I'm sure a lot of the people watching this video know someone who is vitamin D deficient. That just goes to show you, when you talk about things that's going on, I like to put things in perspective. They say, I'm just using it as COVID 19, the virus is out there. I personally don't know anyone with COVID, and all of the people that I asked, do they know someone personally? They say no. The only thing I get back ever to some degree of people who know someone with the COVID is that they know someone who knows someone or heard of something. It's never directly. But when you talk about things like diabetes and high blood pressure, low blood pressure, vitamin D deficiency, these are things that we could just look around our families and friends and we see vitamin D deficiency. And most of those people are not vegans. They're meat eaters who eat meat and stuff like that, fish and stuff, and they're still deficient in vitamin D. Not just that, they take multivitamins that's supposed to have a high vitamin D content. This is no joke, man. I know a guy at my job. He said that he went to the doctor. They told him he was vitamin D deficiency, and he said he don't know how, because he makes sure he take his vitamin D supplements. I tried to tell him. I said, yeah, you got to get to a natural source of vitamin D. And most of that stuff coming out in the urine, man. Vitamin D. That's why when you take certain multivitamins, the color of your urine changed. That's because it's either too much or it can't be used by the body. It changed the color of your urine. It's not assimilable by the body. How can you be eating a meat diet, eating fish? He was going fishing that day too. This is not a lie. I always say my stories be seeming like coincident, a lot of that. Yeah, he was on his way going fishing. We were talking about vitamin D, and they just saying that fish is one of the highest sources of vitamin D. He was on his way going fishing. He told me he about to go get some fish. He was going fishing with some other guys from work. But before he told me that, he said he was low in vitamin D. He didn't connect those two together, but I am. So he's eating the fish diet. He's taking the vitamin D pills, and his doctor is still telling him that he's low in vitamin D. We got some things we got to discuss here. So first of all, vitamin D is not given to us by the sun, but vitamin D is activated or converted into a form that is usable by the body. So we got to go into, okay, we talked about this, the two major forms of vitamin D and vitamin D3. Vitamin D2, ergocalciferol, is largely human-made and added to foods, whereas vitamin D3 is synthesized in the skin, so it's made in the skin from 7-dehydrocholesterol, and it's also consumed in the diet via the intake of animal-based foods. So the origin of vitamin D really in our body is in regards to the ability to synthesize it and create it starts from this cholesterol based precursor called 7-dehydrocholesterol. And that's what's in your skin. That is in the lower layers of the skin. And if you expose to the sun, the UV rays, it hydroxylizes the 7-dehydrocholesterol and converts it into, and it say that right here. It say 7-dehydrocholesterol is a zosterol that functions in the serum as a cholesterol precursor and is photochemically converted to vitamin D3 in the skin, therefore functioning as a provitamin D3. The reason why they call it provitamin D3 is because once it get created to vitamin D3, it's still not usable yet. It has to be activated. All of vitamin D, whether you take in some man-made vitamin D, eating it by eating an animal, or whether your skin is synthesizing it, it all has to be activated through the liver and the kidneys. All right. So we got the forms of vitamin D. We got where it comes from, this chemical reaction between 7-dehydrocholesterol. All right. It needs to be activated. Okay. Let's see here. Let's read this. Although the pre-vitamin D 7-dehydrocholesterol was thought to be produced in the gut wall cells and transported to skin cells, actually, skin cells can synthesize their own 7-dehydrocholesterol, which in turn is converted to a provitamin D cholecalciferol or vitamin D3 by isomerization upon ultraviolet B radiation of sunlight in the epidermis. It's a further photoreaction of vitamin D3 by UVB absorption may generate inactive metabolites. But I just wanted to get to the layer. It's good to know where this vitamin D is coming from. People say, "Oh, I got to go in the sun to get some vitamin D." Not necessarily. You got to go out in the sun to get some UVB, so it can activate and chemically convert through chemical reactions your 7-dehydrocholesterol into vitamin D, and then therefore your body can start taking it through the activation process. All right. So we got that. I guess I wanted to read this about this activation step. It's right here. See, vitamin D from the diet or from skin synthesis is biologically inactive. It is activated by two protein enzyme hydroxylation steps, the first in the liver and the second in the kidney. As vitamin D can be synthesized in adequate amounts by most mammals if exposed to sufficient sunlight, it is not essential. So vitamin D is not really essential, so technically it's not even a vitamin. Vitamins is vital amines, things that's vital. You really can't even produce that much of it. You can't get it in a diet. You can't get enough of it without means of taking in some food. Instead, it can be considered a hormone with activation of the vitamin D prohormone resulting in the active form calcitriol, which then produces effects via a nuclear receptor in multiple locations. So we see that vitamin D is, I'm taking you through the steps. Vitamin D, you have 7-dehydrocholesterol in your lower layers of your skin, the epidermis. Is being touched by UVB lights, and then it's being converted through chemical reactions into vitamin D3, cholecalciferol, and then this is taken through this activation step, hydroxylation. Another reason I like Wikipedia is because they step their game up. Now, if you just hover over something while you reading, come on, man. This almost like being in a matrix, like tapped in, like I'm like download this information. Oh, what's that word? Just hover over it. Hydroxylation is a chemical process that introduces a hydroxyl group, OH, into a organic compound. See, I mean that's some high science right there. And I understand it, but it's hard to continue to break it down right here. But we don't need to get into that deep. We just need to know the basics, because after that, it's all terms and stuff. And these terms got these terms is different depending on where you are in the country, but the process is the same no matter where you go. So that's what we need to focus on, the process. All right. So vitamin D has to be activated. All right. I just wanted to read this. This was from www.pri.org. I just wanted to read this part. It says, there's a common misconception about our star's role. However, the sun, or let's start here, unlike organic compounds that can only be acquired through diet or supplements, however, you can also get the recommended amount of vitamin D with a little help from the sun. There's a common misconception about our star's role, however. The sun does not create vitamin D, says Daryl S. Regal, clinical professor of dermatology at the New York University Medical Center. Rather, ultraviolet radiation converts the vitamin D in your skin to its usable form. Here's how it happens. Our skin naturally contains a precursor to vitamin D. What's that precursor to vitamin D? 7-dehydro 7-dehydrocholesterol. It contains that form. That's the form right there. Which then follows a metabolic pathway through the liver and finally to the kidneys, where it is converted into a molecule called calcitriol. And that's the good stuff. That's what our body can use. The active form of vitamin D obtained from food or supplements must also follow the metabolic pathway to become active. Okay, so that's important right there. You got that's importance, because when you're trying to heal your body, now this is high science. This is a channel that's dealing with, we deal with the realms, okay? The physical, the mental, and the spiritual realms. So if you want to go into the mental realm or the spiritual realm and try to heal your body from something, you need to know thyself. And that means literally knowing how the body works. It's a piece of machine, it's a device, and we don't have a handbook. Every device you get, everything that can operate, your body operates. Everything that you can operate, it comes with a user's manual. The body, our user manuals is in the etheric realm, and it's a compilation of information that's spread all through this universe, this multiverse. So we have to find a way to get that information or tap into that information at Akashic realm, and then from there, if you want to try to mind over matter, okay, we know about the ability of our mind to affect our physical health. We can think stress stuff and stress us out. We can feel happy and give us happy. That's all a mental. And if you're happy, then your body can better respond to stress. If you're sad, then your body cannot respond to stress. So we know that the power of the mind, and that's later down the line when I keep going and giving lessons. We're gonna break all the way into this matrix and what's what, because I'm a spiritual person, but I know that, like I said, I don't readily recall everything, but I've obtained a whole bunch of information, knowledge and information over time. I have personal power, and I'm aware. I know the truth. The truth is that if you want to heal yourself, let's say from a vitamin D deficiency, it would behoove you to know how, how is it obtained, and how is it, created in the body, and what is it for, and what can happen if you don't have it. And that's mental power to go into your focus to help you actually heal your body, clear up some channels, so these things can work. If your liver is bad, that's going to affect your ability to create some useful active form of vitamin D. If your kidneys is bad, that's gonna affect your ability to create an active form of vitamin D. So let's see. Going to some potential complications. Some potential complications. Pull this up here. Some potential complications of vitamin D deficiency. Just going over some of these. Look, the most serious complications of vitamin D deficiency are low blood calcium, low blood phosphate, which is hypophosphatemia, rickets, softening of the bones during childhood, and osteomalacia, softening of the bones in adults. However, these complications have become less common over time because many foods and drinks have added vitamin D. But like I said, if all these foods got added vitamin D, why is so many people vitamin D deficient? It's a pandemic. And really it's even more so with melanated people. Because like they said, number one, it's a couple factors going on here. They just said here that dietary recommendation typically assume that all of a person's vitamin D is taken by mouth, as sun exposure in the population is variable, and recommendations about the amount of such exposure that is safe are uncertain in a view of skin cancer risk. So basically, they tell you to take a certain amount of international units of vitamin D per day. You should get that much. But that's not even taking into the fact of what your body can actually produce on its own. So they basically telling people, here, don't worry about what your body can produce. Get it all right here through the mouth. But that's not the best way to get it. Best way to get it is to eat a healthy diet so you can have these precursors like 7-dehydrocholesterol. And then when you go outside like you're supposed to do every day, then you'll be able to create and synthesize your own vitamin D. Let's look here. It's another, we just a few, I'm not going to stay on this long because we know we need our vitamins. All right, vitamin D is one of them. And look, 8 signs and symptoms of vitamin D deficiency. Vitamin D is extremely important. It has powerful effects on several systems throughout the body. Okay? Several systems out the body. Unlike other vitamins, vitamin D functions like a hormone, and every single cell in your body has a receptor for it. Every single cell in your body has a receptor for it. Your body makes it from cholesterol. Listen. When your skin is exposed to sunlight. It's so many layers of information in here. They tell us cholesterol is bad for us. Well, if we don't have it, we won't be able to make sunlight. Oh, well, we wouldn't be able to make our own vitamin D. You know, oh, well, we got you covered with these synthetic and man-made pills. See, that's what they want. You know, I don't want to get too carried away on this one because this is not about certain things. But I'm telling you, when you live in this life, either living it because you want to know the truth or you just want to accept the lie. And the truth is they want you to be a lie and live your life like a lie, take you off everything natural. You don't need a normal heart. We can get you a fake one. Don't need normal legs. We can get you that. You don't need vitamin D from nature. We can make it in a laboratory. Okay? And every action has an opposite or equal reaction. When you remove yourself from nature, it's a detrimental effect that it has. And it's so systemic, you can't even realize it a lot of time. It's never a straight line from point A to B. It's like to get to B, you need to go around the corner. So you got to keep your mind around what's everything that's going on. It's found in dairy products such as fatty fish and fortified dairy products. Remember, they fortifying it with that vitamin D2. When you're looking at the back of your ingredients, you might want to read, you know what I'm saying? What source is it? Vitamin D2, that's man-made vitamin D. You want to try to stay away from man-made minerals. I mean, that's just the truth. It's not good for you. You mean to tell me a man can make something better for you than the creator, what was put here already that people been living, and that's how the human life is continuing to this day, thousands upon thousands, maybe even millions of years. Humans been living just fine without man-made foods, and all of a sudden, man come along and say, "Oh yeah, you don't need nature no more. I got you." That's a trick. So it is also it say the recommended dairy intake is around 400 to 800 international units, but many experts say you should get even more than that. So they don't even know. A lot of times they don't. Vitamin D deficiency is very common. Vitamin D deficiency is very common. If all these foods is fortified with it, they got supplements with it, you can go outside and get it. Why is this stuff, vitamin D deficiency, so common? It just goes to show, man, it's we got to piece this stuff together for ourselves, and that's why I got in health, because I want to take my health into my own hands. Y'all might hear me mention a lot that I had my children at home. I delivered them by myself, just me and my wife. And that's like taking health into your own hands. You know what I'm saying? That's what that's an example of the power of studying and getting confidence in your ability to take care of yourself and govern yourself to do. So let's look at here. It say according to 2011 study, 41.6% of adults in the U.S. are deficient. The number goes up to 69.2 in Hispanics and 82.1 in African Americans. Come on, man. Look, I get a little. The 82.1% of African Americans is deficient in vitamin D deficiency. OMG. And that's one of the main reasons why I'm here today. 2, because melanated people, we're children of the sun. We're vitamin D deficient, okay? And we shouldn't be at all, okay? It's horrible. Let's see. Here are 7 common risk factors from vitamin D deficiency. Darker skin. Why? Because you're going to see all these kind of fit into it. It say being elderly, being overweight or obese, not eating much fish or dairy, living far from the equator where there is little sun year-round, always using sunscreen when going out, and staying indoors, okay? All right, people who live near the equator get frequent sun exposure are less likely to be deficient, as their skin produces enough vitamin D to satisfy their body's needs. Listen, the skin produces enough vitamin D to satisfy their body needs. I get it. Some of us may not live so close to the equator. That's why I'm here. I'm going to be talking about mushroom, Tremella. That's the end goal here. It's trying to get us a supplement from nature, from the earth, that we can use, okay? Look at this. It say, here are 8 signs and symptoms of vitamin D deficiency. Getting sick or infected often, okay? Fatigue and tiredness. We're not reading through it, just going through them. Fatigue and tiredness, okay? Bone and back pain. Depression. Impaired wound healing. Bone loss. Hair loss. Muscle pain. Okay? Muscle pain, hair loss. All these are signs and symptoms of vitamin D deficiency. But let's go back up to these here. These 7 common risk factors, because now we about to tie into the current condition of what's going on this planet. We have COVID, man. COVID, man. All right? And there's a lot of conflicting information out there on COVID. I'll be the first to tell you. COVID, about who catching it, how many people dying from it, what they writing on a death certificate, whether they confirm or not, what ethnicity of people is at more of a risk, is mask good or not. I mean, it's so many uncertainties around COVID. But It's no certainties around vitamin D. It's no confusion around vitamin D deficiency. Some common risk factors: having dark skin. Why? Because, man, everybody knows that melanated people can stay in the sun. We can tolerate heat a lot more. Now, living in Western society, we losing our ability to tolerate the heat. So we're trying to go indoors a lot, stay inside a lot. We're not as active as we used to be in our natural environment. So we're becoming overweight. We becoming elderly early because people are aging so fast from improper lifestyles and eating habits. They say not eating much fish or dairy. I don't know. The people I know, they eat a ton of fish and dairy, and they still having this issue. I mean, that's just the truth. Living far away from the equator because it's less sun there, less UVB, then less activation of that 7-dehydrocholesterol, and so less conversion into that vitamin that we need, vitamin D3. Always using sunscreen when out. They start to say melanated people should use sunscreen. Maybe, I'm not gonna tell you not to, but I never used it. I never had a sunburn. My children, they never used it. They outside way more than anybody I know, and they never had sunburn or having skin problems. I don't know. Staying indoors though. Here we go. Let's go back here because I seen something that was interesting. Now, okay, today is July 8th, 2020. I don't know when this was updated, but it was updated. Listen to this, deficiency. An estimated 1 billion people worldwide are either vitamin D insufficient or deficient. Listen, they say it's 7 billion people in the world, 1/7 of the world, and then you got 82% of melanated people. Now, and this is what they can count. These numbers, give or take a billion. You can't take a billion, so you might need to give a billion. Okay? 2 billion people around the world insufficient or deficient in vitamin D. Okay, that's a reach. But we see it right here. It's inadequate sun exposure. A diet with insufficient vitamin D in conjunction with inadequate sun exposure. Bone health risk. Osteoporosis, rickets, osteomalacia, skin mutations. Dark-skinned people living in temperature climates have been shown to have low vitamin D levels, but the significance of this is not certain. They don't want to just come out and say it. Look, man, if you read this, you're going to see that vitamin D, we just saw, plays a role in several systems. A lot to do with the bones and the health and the bones, and that's where your marrow is, and that's where your life-giving properties, plasma and your blood substance come from. It's the bones. If your bones ain't healthy, how can it be supplying a good life, various life forms and various life factors that we need in order to maintain all around healthy body? Whew. I'm telling you, vitamin D is important. Mortality. Look, vitamin D supplementation has been intensively found to lead to a reduced risk of death. If you getting it. Notice they said vitamin D3 supplementation. That means a natural form of vitamin D3 is reducing the death in the elderly. Bone health, cancer, vitamin D supplements have been widely marketed for their claimed anti-cancer properties. Cardiovascular, taking vitamin D supplements does not meaningfully reduce the risk of stroke, cerebral palsy, cerebrovascular disease, cardio infarction, and ischemic heart disease. Supplementation may have no effect on blood pressure. does not meaningfully reduce the risk. That's what it say. We gotta be, kind of cautious. But this is what I want to when they say meaningfully, because what's one thing, what has meaning to me might not have meaning to someone else. Maybe it doesn't meaningfully reduce it in Caucasians because they could go outside for 5 minutes and they good. So they never supplementing them with vitamin D won't have that much of effect. But for melanated people, maybe, because we dying from a lot of stroke and heart disease and have a lot of blood pressure problems. This is just the truth. And that's what scientists don't get about synergy. Synergy is a combination of so many factors that we don't try to single out one. Everything is important. Vitamin D is just as important to maintain heart health, and blood health as many other vitamins and minerals. It's called synergy. And they don't understand why or why not, why it wouldn't. Okay. But this is what I really want to get to, because we was just talking about let's see here. These signs and symptoms. Staying indoors. Here are 7 common risk factors of vitamin D deficiency. Stand indoors. Listen, look, this is Wikipedia, man. And you go fact check Wiki. How about that? If you don't believe this, go fact check Wiki. Every time I fact check Wiki, it's on point. So I just stopped fact checking it. And if it sounds good to myself, if it feels good, it's good. Listen, in general, vitamin D functions to activate the innate and dampen the adaptive immune systems. To activate the innate. What is the innate? That's why I love Wiki. Hover over it. The innate immune system is one of the 2 main immunity systems found in vertebrates. The innate immune system is an older evolutionary defense strategy, relatively speaking, and is the dominant immune system response found in plants, fungi, insects, and primitive multicellular, so forth and so on. So vitamin D is already activating the immune system. Let's go, baby. It say deficiency has been linked to increased risk of severity of viral infections. COVID. Look, infectious disease and COVID-19. This new. They had to put it in there. That's the power of Wiki. They updating it. Somebody studying. Listen. Deficiency has been linked to increased risk of severity in viral infections, including HIV. Low levels of vitamin D appear to be a risk factor for tuberculosis, and historically it is used as a treatment. Tuberculosis, infectious disease usually caused by Mycobacterium tuberculosis. Tuberculosis generally affects the lungs, but can also affect other parts of the body. Most infections show no symptoms, in which case it is known as latent tuberculosis. Tuberculosis affecting the lungs, okay? So we dealing with COVID. They got COVID up there. Supplementation slightly decreases the risk and severity of acute respiratory tract infections. Supplementation slightly decreases the risk and severity of acute respiratory tract infections. Okay. Breathing. Them lungs again, that's what COVID is about. But they telling you to stay home. What are they telling you? Stay home. Stay indoors. Right there. This is a common risk factor for vitamin D deficiency, which is going to affect your ability to have vitamin D in your system. Create it or intake it, whatever you need. It's going to affect that ability. Let's see here. There is no evidence for vitamin C affecting respiratory infections in children under 5 years old. There's no evidence. That's like saying, yeah, we know he killed them, but we ain't got no evidence. You like I said, with these wordings, y'all gotta, use some imagination here. The COVID pandemic raises concerns that vitamin D deficiency may be a risk factor for respiratory infection. But there is only preliminary evidence of a direct association between vitamin D deficiency and COVID-19 infection. One UK study found no association between previously measured vitamin D levels and the incidence of COVID-19 infection. when adjustments were made for potential confounding factors such as ethnicity. See, they got to adjust it based on ethnicity because different ethnicities handle vitamin D differently. Vitamin D deficiency is prevalent. Listen to that. You got to see the contradictory. This is information they reporting, and you just got to see that this is the information you're going to read involved in COVID. It's saying vitamin D deficiencies is prevalent in many countries with the highest numbers of COVID-19 cases and deaths, such as the United States, Spain, the UK, Italy, and Iran. Vitamin D deficiency is prevalent in these countries with the highest number of COVID cases. An evidence summary published by the UK NICE concluded there was nothing to support the use of vitamin D supplements for the prevention and treatment of COVID-19. So far, they saying nothing can treat it. Hydrochloroquine, no, yes, oh, we don't know. Sun, yes, no. Bleach, yes, no. I mean, they don't know. Because the only thing that they want to treat it is their vaccine. That's what this is about. Mass vaccination. And we don't know what's in there. I always tell people, you can't be smart taking a vaccine because you don't know what's in it. But, you know, that's reminiscent of the daily actions of people. As above, so without. As within, so without. As on a micro scale, as on a macro scale. People just go into the stores and look at the front of the box and say, this look good. Don't even bother to look on the back and look at the ingredients to see that it's not good. The proof is in the pudding. Look at the recipes. You know, it say according to clinicaltrials.gov, several phase 2 to 4 clinical trials are underway to assess the use of vitamin D for prevention or treatment of COVID-19 infection, with most in preliminary stages and none completed as of May 2020. Most trials have the design of studying COVID-19 infected people who are vitamin D deficient. So we seeing it right here. They want us to stay home, and listen, sometimes the path to hell is paved by good intentions. I don't know if people are trying to really genuinely help us or not, but the fact remains that staying home and having nowhere to go and is going to lead to people staying in the house, people who already vitamin D deficient, which is just going to even lower the level of vitamin D in their system. And this is bad. This is a setup. Stay at home so you can stay out the sun, you can stay out of fresh air, and you can go in the house and get deficient on many things. There's science to your body can breathe. So you're in a house with lower oxygen. That's why they say, let's go outside and get some fresh air. But no, we're going to go and stay inside and get this non-fresh air. People already staying in the house already. So, melanated people, we had to get back to creating our own vitamin D by getting in the sun, making sure we're eating a healthy diet, or taking a supplement, a healthy supplement, not a man-made vitamin supplement that, as far as I could tell from the people around me, look, you want to do a fact check, just ask the people around you. That's the quickest way to get your own real life answer to some of these questions. Okay, COVID is running rampant. All these millions of people. Let me ask the people around me. You got COVID? You got COVID? You know anybody got COVID? No. You know anybody with vitamin D deficiency? Yeah, my doctor said I'm vitamin D deficient. Shit, you know somebody with vitamin D deficiency? Yeah, doctor said I'm vitamin D. Everybody got vitamin D deficient, and then they put them on some man-made vitamin D supplements, vitamins, which is just gonna make the system worse. All right. So y'all gotta keep all that in mind. It's time to get your vitamin D, whether you vegan or not, meat eater or not. Let me go back to where it said that, if I can find it again. I might not be able to find it again, but we read it. 82% of people, 82% of melanated people are vitamin D deficient. That's horrible. Here we go. Listen, this was in 2011. I can only assume it's going up. According to a 2011 study, 41.6% of adults in the U.S. are deficient. The number goes up to 62.9 Hispanics and 82.1 for African Americans. The darker skinned people, and then they go on to say, here are the common risk factors of vitamin D deficient, having darker skin. So no, they're not going to go on say it's a pandemic when we know the majority of the world, not the Caucasians is the minority. This is not an attack. This is the truth. In the world as a total, Caucasians are a minority, but they're controlling a lot of the information. So when it comes to saying what's important, vitamin D is not going to be important for them because they just go outside for 5-15 minutes and they're good on vitamin D. But Hispanics, African Americans, and other people with these dark skin tones can't do that. In America, 82.1% African Americans is vitamin D deficient. And I know for a fact that the people watching this video know someone that's vitamin D deficient if they themselves not vitamin D deficient. So we got to fix that. Now they say, that's why here comes introducing you to Tremella. Tremella, what is it? It's a mushroom. How I found out about Tremella? I started studying mushrooms and I wanted to know more about them. Some of my books downstairs, I don't really got them with me right now. On some of the books I've been reading. I went to the library and just checked out like 6 books on mushrooms. Then I ended up taking those back after I had them for too long and ended up buying me my own little books on mushrooms. I was trying to learn more about them. I was going out. I mean, mushrooms is crazy. Mushrooms basically decompose dead things, and then so to help the cycle of life keep going. I mean, I went out into the nature. As you can see, I'm always out in nature. If you look on my background screen, that's me in Montesano Mountain in Huntsville, Alabama, and I'm out there. But when I'm going on hikes and stuff, where mushrooms are growing is big old logs. If you actually step on a log, the log is crumble. That's the work of mushrooms. Getting those logs that then fell down. If no log ever decomposed, then there would be logs and logs all over this place. We wouldn't be able to enjoy and walk through nature. Luckily, mushrooms are decomposing that stuff, breaking it down, and out of death, because we know that's the true nature. God came out of the darkness. Okay? We know that in all the traditions, all of religious texts, God was in darkness. That's where life come from, darkness. We know a plant must grow in dirt, darkness. Plant starts in darkness, and there's forms of light that's dark light, dark energy, dark matter. That's it. That's the energy. So Tremella's got me on that because I'm going around, I'm walking around, I'm just seeing all these crazy mushrooms. You see Tremella right here. That's how I saw it. And I was like, man, I bet if somebody just was walking through the woods and seeing that, they'll be like, oh my God, what's that? That's what is out there in these woods. It's a way different life forms. It's like being on a different planet. I get so excited studying different forms of life. If you look around, you might can't see. I got different pictures of Thoth all over me. Thoth was famous. They call him Thoth Trismegistus, thrice great. He was thrice great because he mastered the 3 levels of existence. Was the element world, the plant world, and the animal world. Okay, and the fungi is a part of that, although not a plant. Okay, it's a fungus. Okay, but even in if you go back, I'm a part of academia. They send me a lot of documents. They talk about this spiritually now. They talk about how the Egyptians used to use the mushrooms for their ceremonial rituals, especially when a male was coming into his adulthood, and to kind of get him to step into his spiritual authoritative status. They take him through these rituals, and mushrooms was used. In fact, mushrooms uh, off limits to regular people in Egypt. You could go research this. Mushrooms was off limits to the regular people. It was reserved for the pharaohs and the people of high royalty, because that's how they was able to get their divinity. The go through and just look up the association spiritually with mushrooms, and you'll see why I gained a interest in mushrooms. Start studying them spiritually, start studying them scientifically. Was already eating and taking mushrooms, but it got a lot more in depth. I got into the cordyceps, the tremella. But that brings me back here. Tremella. Tremella is a genus of fungi in the family Tremellaceae. All Tremella species are parasites of other fungi, and most produce anamorphic yeast states. Basidocarp's fruit bodies, when produced, are gelatinous and are colloquially classed among the jelly fungi. Over 100 species of Tremella are currently recognized worldwide. Two species, Tremella fusiformis and Tremella aurantialba, are commercially cultivated for food. Excuse me for my pronunciations. I don't think the people who created these words knew what they were know how to pronounce them. But anyway, that's what happens when you're self-taught. You don't pronounce everything exactly right. But it's all just labels. And in another part of the country, it's called something. In another part of the world, it's called something else. So that don't really matter. We're looking at this. We could look at it and see that it is what it is. It's a mushroom. If we go somewhere else, we can see that it is what it is. They might call it something else, but we know what they're talking because we see. So that's Tremella. That's what it is. It's a fungus. It's a mushroom. It don't look like a traditional mushroom, but it's a fungus. And there is so many different types of fungus out there. I mean, just do some research on mushrooms and you're gonna be blown away. It's like going into a whole different reality, because they take on so many shapes and forms, and they do some amazing things that you've never seen. It just very, very much interests me. Tremella mushroom, what is it? We already know what it is. Here's something about Tremella. This is actually tataraperskincare.com. I was just looking it up. It say this mushroom, and there's more. Tremella also boasts a high concentration of vitamin D. They was talking about its moisturization, and after you eat above, they was talking about moisturization. After you eat it, it's very hydrating for the skin on a all new level. Like, that's the thing about this. Just to add this real quick, I got some books on mushrooms. In that book, I was researching cordyceps, reishi, some of these other ones, lion's mane, and things like that. Listen, that book came out in 2011. In that book, they said that these were poisons and toxics. So that just goes to show you that the study of mushrooms is on the cutting edge. They don't even know about mushrooms. What they say today might be in contradiction tomorrow. That's why you have to do your own research, because you can't wait for someone to bring you cutting edge information. You got to go find it. You are the one who got to go find it. Listen to what I'm saying. A book from 2011 said most of the mushrooms that's used today in healing and health and all these different forms of holistic health, in 2011 in these books they were saying was poisonous, not edible. That's 2011. It's only 2020. So 9 years later, the information changed. Information changing daily. Excuse me. in regards to this information. So we got to come out here and get it. Listen, it says, this mushroom also happens to be high in vitamin D. When eaten, tremella mushroom is the highest food source of vitamin D precursor. Provitamin D. That's that vitamin D3. Okay? That's what that is. Already ready to go ahead and travel through the biological system, through them livers and kidneys, and then be created to its active form. Come on, baby. Come on, y'all seeing that? So listen, I'm here to tell y'all today, stop tripping about vitamin D and go get you some tremella mushrooms. Listen, this mushroom also happens to be high in vitamin D. When eating tremella mushroom is the highest food source of vitamin D precursor. Provitamin D. Provitamin D. Let's go. When topically applied, vitamin D has also shown impressive skin healing abilities. And that's why they use it's a gelatinous material, this tremella mushroom. It can be dry, but in gelatinous form, it's like a jello. You know, you touch it, it's screamy, it melts in your hand, cool to the touch. It helps cell growth. Look, it helps cell growth. Vitamin D, wound healing, and maintaining the barrier function of the skin. Basically, it's like nature's Band-Aid. And now for a far less fun fact. Between the ages of 20 to 70, the skin's natural ability to create vitamin D decreases by 75%. This is why it is essential to support your skin with extra high quality sources of vitamin D such as Tremella. And I will argue that the reason between 20 and 70 that people decrease the ability to create vitamin D decrease by 75%, I'll probably argue that is not just because of age, but because of lifestyle. People stop being as active, man. I'm guilty of it as well. You know, around your 30s, you know, late 20s, you start not to be as active as you were when you was younger, which means that you're probably not outside as much, which means that you're not producing as much vitamin D as you did. If you don't realize that and correct that, which is what I did, so I try to be outside a lot. I sun gaze, I sun bathe, because it's good for the body, it's good for fighting off infection, it's good for getting nutrients and minerals like vitamin D. Synthesizing, allowing your body to do that itself. So I'll argue that the reason that between the ages that happens is because people are less active and they're less worried about what they eat, and they're kind of just feeding into the idea of the matrix. They become docile and they accept their life for what it is. This is the matrix. I'm gonna live here, work a job, die, and to hell with this shit. You know. So I just wanted to read that. Let's talk about how much vitamin D is in tremella. They call it the snow fungus. Now, this is just one source, but we're going to do some other. It say this is based on 100 grams, one pack of tremella, 100 grams of it. In 100 grams, vitamin D, right here, per 100 grams, you getting 970 micrograms. That's a lot. Okay? That's a lot. Let's go to the ODS.od. National Institute of Health.gov. National Institute of Health.gov. They're telling you that you getting that cod liver, or let's look and see what they got up here. Cod, what is some of the good sources of vitamin D? Cod liver oil. All right, 1 tablespoon, you're getting 34 micrograms. Okay. Trout, farm cooked, you're getting 16.2 micrograms per serving. Salmon, mushroom, half a cup, you're getting 9.2. I don't know what type of mushroom. They talk about white, so they not talking about tremella. Now, it's known that like portobello mushrooms, white mushrooms, and stuff got vitamin D in it. They say it. Even portobello. I haven't really read through this list. I just pulled it up and seen the ones at the top, and that's what I was really focusing on. But I see down here they got portobello up there, with some mushrooms with some vitamin D. Okay. Here I came here because I wanted to show you the dietandfitnesstoday.com top 20 fish products high in vitamin D. Look, cod liver, you get 10,000 international units. So this is how I wanted to show y'all. This is the dietary supplement database, okay, from the United States Department of Agriculture, National Institute of Health.gov, okay? So you can transfer the equivalence of 1 international unit for selected vitamins. Okay, listen. This list here is based on 100 grams, okay? Welcome to the nutrient vitamin content in 90 different types of fish ranging from 10,000 IU to 0 IU per 100 grams. So per 100 grams of fish, okay? Same thing here. This is per 100 grams of mushroom. 970 micrograms. So now we got to convert. We got 900 per 100. I'm just showing you this real quick because this is important. People say that you can't get certain stuff, but I'm trying to prove this stuff wrong. I'm working on a protein right now from seaweeds, and I'm gonna eventually finish that and do a study on that too. It's all false. Furthermore, I'm not gonna hit on that right now, but I just do want to say it. I'm not talking about protein, but I want to say it. Listen, I went to school. Well, first of all, I'll say I have a bachelor's in computer science. I have associates in computer science. I have a diploma in herbology. Okay. When I was going to school for herbology, the protein was a big part of it. And they told us if you go through and study the history of protein and know how much the amount of recommended protein has been going like this. Like at one point it was like you need 100 grams of protein a day. Then it was down like to 50. Like it's constantly being lower. Like the new recommended daily allowance of protein is like 25 grams. It's going to keep getting lower as time goes on. Why? Because the information is not exact what they're telling you. How many times had a food pyramid been changed up? Bunch. Go do the research on that and you will see that what people telling you is not exact. It's not the ultimate truth, the end all be all. So that's what I'm trying to do now to help you tap into different sources so you can, one, have another alternative source of certain things like vitamins and minerals and ways to treat your family with certain illnesses. And two, see that it takes you becoming interested. Your own self-interest, genuine interest in caring about your health to want to find this information out. You got to go seek and you will find it. Let's do the calculation. So in 100 grams of Tremella, you get 970 micrograms. Let's take a look here at this dietary chart from the National Institute of Health.gov. It say for vitamin D, the equivalence of 1 national unit. Okay. 1 international unit is the biological equivalent of 0.025 micrograms of cholecalciferol, vitamin D3, or ergocalciferol, vitamin D2. So, let's convert. We're going to bring up the calc. We're going to bring up the calculator. And let's do some math. So, it say right here, 0.025 micrograms is equal to 1 international unit. Okay, let's go to all right, so we got 970 micrograms. Oh, okay, so we got the calc up. What we're going to do is say 0.025. Oh, no, let me take that back. 970 micrograms, right? We're going to divide that by 0.025, and we get 38,800 international units of vitamin D in 100 grams of Tremella. Now they just said we know the recommended dietary allowance is between 400 to 800. We read that earlier. Studies suggest it might be more needed. It don't matter. I'm telling you now. If you look on the vitamin D pill that they giving you, any supplement, you're gonna have way more than the recommended the daily allowance, the RDA, recommended daily allowance. You're gonna have way more than that. Sometimes it's like 1,000% more than the record, because they don't know. Like I said, it's not an exact science. You have to care about your life and care about your health and recoup this information, because we're in a vulnerable state where we lost this information. We have to get it back and make it plain so we can pass it on to the children, and it won't be so complicated for them. That's what this is about. So you getting 38,000 just off 100 grams. Let's go back to this fish thing again. Fish, 1,000, 10,000. So you getting over 3 times the amount of vitamin D in mushroom, in a Tremella mushroom, than in your cod liver fish. Case closed. You can get vitamin D, other sources. The case is over. And that's pretty much gonna bring me to my end of this video. Like I said, I wanted to stay true to what I say I was gonna do, and this is the opportunity to do that. I hope I didn't take too long. I thought it would be quicker. I'd be done by now, but you get into this and you just keep going. I picked up this recipe because it had 4.78 stars out of 1,700 people. So 1,700 people tried this recipe or read this recipe and liked it. So, you know, I will say that I did make a snow fungus dessert. Snow fungus desserts is a meal that is traditionally had in Asian, Chinese cultures, and they have it as a dessert at the end of their meals. And they also take it during times when they're sick and stuff like that, because it has a lot of nutrients, Tremella, not just the vitamin D, but other stuff. If you keep on reading the Wikipedia, take some time to do your own research on this Tremella mushroom, you will see that it is at the cutting edge with mushrooms. Scientists are just discovering what these things could potentially do. Like they don't know, so we had to figure this out. All we know is the folklore and the people who've been living and have the highest lifespans on earth. The Chinese people, they've been eating this stuff. The people been eating it before them. And it's helping people live longer and be healthy. People eat it when they sick and they got, you know, you go read about the stories about this mushroom. I'm not gonna do it all here, you know, because the video will be forever, you know, and people got stuff to do. I got stuff to do. I gotta go eat. But you read the stories and people make this. Their mom's been making it for them ever since they was little. Whenever they get sick or have a cold or something, the Chinese culture, they eat it after dessert, after every meal. So this is, I showed you vitamin D, what it is, where it comes from, how it's created in our skin, and it's man-made forms of it too that don't work for our body. We went over how it's very important for melanated people, darker skinned people, Hispanics, any people with darker skin tones to be out there. 82% and 69 of African Americans deficient, 69 of Hispanics is deficient in vitamin D, and scientists don't still know what all roles it play. Once again, they're not exact science. They could tell you some, but they don't know everything. Okay, that's why we have to come and fill in the blanks. Okay. So and now I'm telling you a source where you could get it. I'm showing you that it's got vitamin D. I'm showing you different skincare products that say it, different websites that's talking about the vitamin D and Tremella. You can go do your own research. Now I'm telling you how to consume it. You can consume it like this. I made it. I'll be honest to say that it's an acquired taste. I did not make this one in particular. I did another one with goji berries, so maybe I'll try this one next. I'll say start off with a small portion. Don't try to make a whole bunch, because I did make a giant pot of this. It was way too much. It went to waste. Just being honest. But next time I'll make a smaller batch, and it's an acquired taste. It's a little different, but what's good to me may not be good to you. What's nasty to me may not be nasty to you. Try it out. It's a good way to get you some vitamins and minerals. It's also a good way to pick up your immune system, get your immune system balance, and it's very good for collagen loss. Which the scientists are still trying to find a way to replenish collagen. There it go in Tremella mushroom. You can read about that stuff. I'm just focusing on vitamin D, not all of its various aspects. Like I said, mushrooms are on the cutting edge of science. It's unexplored. They don't know the depths of it. All right. So you can make this. This is a recipe. Nyan, I don't know. nyonyacooking.com. nyonyacooking.com. I just put it up. It was 1,000. Let me go back. 1,700 people like this recipe. I didn't try this one. I'll try it next. It's a way to get the Tremella in your life. Other ways. You got other ways through, they sell different supplements. Okay, you could get Tremella on Amazon. Here's a liquid extract of they call it white fungus, snow fungus, Tremella. It come in white form, so it could be yellow. So yeah, you need to come in here, and you can even buy it. I bought mine whole. Let me see. You can buy the mushroom powder. You don't have to buy this stuff from Amazon. It's other sellers out there, but we know that Amazon is reputable in that a lot of people use it, and they have, get your money. They give you your money back if something go wrong. Look, Super Tremella. All right, you got Addictive Wellness Tremella. Different forms of Tremella. I can't possibly tell you the benefits of mushrooms. Like they say, they got this one in here with lion's mane, reishi, cordyceps, shiitake, turkey tail. All those are medicinal mushrooms, and they're very, very good for you. You got to do your research on it and get these things into your life, and do the spiritual research on mushrooms and understand the deities and stuff associated with mushrooms, and you understand how mushrooms can work. So you can go on here. This is where I bought it. Okay, we got bad reviews on here. It's not a review section, but let's just see. Let's just see what the ratings say. Because I'm not sure if this is the place that I bought it from, but when I got mine, it was high quality. The item was cut out. The item was being cut out a lot. The quality is fine, but the material was cut a lot. I usually bought white fungus in store. They was more large. This item is more. They was cute, and so I mean that's not even. It just said the quality is good, so that's why you gotta read into some of these reviews. People putting 1 stars because it was cut. I mean, come on, man. They got a packaging and stuff, So that's why I say, man, with the reviews, sometimes you gotta use your own imagination and some common sense. I believe this the ones I bought from, and it was great quality for me. It was what I expected. So there you got it. It's your boy Yesu. I'm a day. I go by many names. Dwayne Spears, Wayne, Killer D, the truth, the truth. Today I'm Yesu. I shape and shift and shape because that's who I am, and it depends on what vibration I'm in. Every time I come here, I'm in try to be in a higher vibration. We all go slip down to low vibrations from time to time, but depending on what type of vibration you in, depends on how you look to others too. How they perceive you. So I hope that was informative because that's what I want to try to do on this channel is to provide some information, something that you can use, man. In your life for real, for real. You know what I mean? Whether it's spiritual, mental, or physical, I want to provide it. And so with that being said, I will go ahead and shut this down, and I will be back again some other time to talk about something else. Like the content is going to vary on this channel. It's going to be content about everything, anything I can think of, anything I deem important enough to take my time to put together some information, a presentation, and bring this information to y'all. So, with that being said, peace and love, and y'all have a good existence. Godspeed.